In studio, I have with me Mike Tushe. He's a tax specialist at Forvis Mazars, and Hannah de Nobrega. She's an economist at Prescient Investment Management. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us. Ladies first. Hannah, of course, a lot of issues being discussed by people around the country, that bread and butter issues that affect them. The big thing, of course, is unemployment, and the Government of National Unity has pledged to address issues around economic growth, fixing the unemployment story, poverty, inequality, and so on. What do you think needs to happen? Do you think enough is happening already from a structural reform point of view, a plan on infrastructure, etc., to turn the fortunes of the economy?
Yeah, so the biggest story and theme at the moment is growth and growth reform. So that we need to really do the groundwork there with infrastructure first. Without infrastructure, nothing can happen. So there has been a lot of capital formation, not through companies and businesses, not because they're expanding, but because previously they were actually just investing in things like generators just to keep going. So it's been a big survival story in the past, and now we need to really start moving forward from that, where electrical generation is stable, we have stable supply chains, and all of these things is just the groundwork so that we can start growing, yes. Right? And the government has actually started, we can see the ball starting to roll with this, but we just need to have a little bit more confidence. We need to wait it out to see if it really is gaining the momentum that we hope it will. There's a lot of talk about private investment coming in, especially with Transnet. So the government is only helping Transnet out with the Jafekra money, but no further than that. And they need to see an opening in private investment and private companies coming and using the railways, using the ports. So there's a lot more opening for competition there, and that will help facilitate this reform, the growth reform. So I think off that base, the growth story will be able to start actualizing within the next couple of years.
Mike, earlier we heard about the SARS commissioner, amid all the rumors that we might get a VAT increase, even the possibility of a corporate income tax increase, even though government not that long ago actually reduced the corporate income tax to 27%, which is strange. So amid those rumors, he actually said levying higher taxes doesn't automatically result in higher tax revenue. It's more important to focus on capacitating SARS, in terms of its tax administration, to get what's owed already. What's your view around this?
So when we were looking at what are the predictions for this budget, we have come to the conclusion that South Africans are taxed out. We actually are at a level where we're right in the curve of the Laffer curve. So if you increase taxes, the tax rates, the chances of receiving more tax or the equivalent of that rate increase is not 100% there. Our tax buoyancy ratio is also indicating that the growth in your GDP is possibly not going to give you the exact growth in tax revenues. So our view has been that there wouldn't be any increases in taxes, and one should possibly look at the growth story. You've got to grow our economy. We've got to be more attractive for foreign direct investments. At the moment, I think we're getting 12%, and we should be having 25% of investment into the economy. Just getting back to your view of decreasing the corporate tax rate, that was done on the basis that there will be neutrality. So what SARS did, or what Treasury did, is they they limited the ability to deduct losses, and they gave us debt limitation rules. So they made sure that, notwithstanding that we reduced the tax rate to 27%, the tax take would still be the same as it was before. And I think that's where we are in this situation. If we're going to give any relief, and you did mention there's the VAT story out there that we might have a 2% increase in VAT, but that is going to cover the idea of making more zero rating foodstuffs available. White meat chicken was one of the big ones that the poultry producers were after. It is a big source of protein in this country, so it does make sense, and it will offer relief to lower income households maybe, but with that relaxation of VAT on certain food items, they'll increase the VAT rate, and that's the only way they're going to get it through. Whether it's going to happen or not, it remains to be seen. You know, I think we're in a fortunate position. We've got a canoe. It's giving us some stability. Hannah did mention we're starting to see signs of a little bit of confidence coming into this economy, and that is what is needed. You know, we're running at a pedestrian 1% growth, or less than 1% growth. We've really got to do something better.
Absolutely. All right, thank you to both of you for giving us your insights on the budget forthcoming. That was Mike Touche, he's a tax specialist at Forvis Mazars, and Hannah de Nobrega, she's an economist at Prescient Investment Management, just speaking to the issues around the need for economic growth, and Mike speaking around the issue of not overburdening South Africans, both individuals and corporates, with tax, that we need to get efficiencies in terms of SARS, and that ultimately the big story really is that we need economic growth. So the structural reforms that are taking place are the most important things that we need to keep an eye on, which will ultimately help to translate into economic growth.